Arsenal back in for talented Spanish right-back Ivan Fresneda, with the player having a release clause of under £20 million. Yes, people, wife, boy, and welcome back to another Arsenal transfer news video. As always, if you absolutely love being kept up to date with daily Arsenal transfer news vids, this is the place to be. Make sure you subscribe down below. We're up to 4,000 subscribers, and hit the bell notification button so you never miss a future video on this channel. It's a win-win for both of us. Also, let me know in the comments your thoughts on this exact transfer story. Let's not waste any more time and get straight into the tweet brought today by Barca Universal, saying this: from England, they say that Arsenal have reactivated their interest in Barcelona target Ivan Fresneda. Mikel Arteta likes the player. The parties have already started contact, and the source is Mundo Deportivo, which is a Spanish outlet. Not bad on either. It's pretty reliable. They've got over 3 million followers on Twitter, and they do produce stories regarding Spanish footballers. So what do I think regarding Ivan Fresneda, right? Because this isn't new news. We've been interested in the player before, but as I said at the start of the video, it seems like we're back in for him again. It was interest that definitely cooled down. I remember in January, we were very hot in for the player as a potential right-back option. He's still only 18 years of age. Will turn 19 in September. Tall right-back, and he's someone that definitely can fit the Arteta mould. I just looking at it, thinking, we've just signed Timber, who's a right-back slash centre-back. Why are we going for another right-back type player? Now, whether Arteta believes that Ben White is going to now become a centre-back again and we need a backup right-back, I'm not too sure. But for me, when I look at it in that sense, it doesn't really make a lot of sense to me why we're reactivating interest in Ivan Fresneda. If the Jurrien Timber deal broke down and Timber wasn't going to be an Arsenal player, it makes sense to me, it makes complete sense. But with Timber being an Arsenal player, surely it makes more sense to target a defensive midfielder next, or potentially a striker, not another right back in my opinion. However, I can see why it would be a smart pickup for Arsenal. You're talking about a player that, as I said at the start of the video, a release clause of under 20 million. He probably will go for less money. You're talking around about the £15 million mark to £12 million mark could get this deal done, which is not a lot of money whatsoever, especially a club like Arsenal, who's just spent over 100 million on Declan Rice. And you're talking about a young player, 18 years old, plays for Real Valladolid. I think that's how you pronounce it. So I believe they actually just got relegated. They're now in the second tier of Spanish football, which is why they need to get rid of their assets so they can recoup some money, to be fair. Having to deal with the relegation life, as a lot of clubs have to deal with around world football. So it's a player you can pick up for a cut deal, and it's a player that definitely could be one for the future. Now, if I look at it in that sense, and I think if it's a little stopgap signing for 12 million, a player for the future, a player that's not going to be a marquee signing by any stretch of the imagination, but someone that we can bring in, contribute to the team every now and then, get a little bit of football, and build on for the future, be someone's a real hallmark right back for Arsenal going forward, I don't mind the signing. However, I do look at it in a way that thinks, surely our energy should be better spent elsewhere. That's just my personal thoughts. Now, no one knows whether this story is completely 100% true or not. With every story on planet Earth, you have to take it with a little bit of a pinch of salt, because you never know. Sources can be true, sources can be false. But this one has come out today after, of course, the Timber deal, after, of course, the Rice deal is basically wrapped up. This is a fresh source coming from Mundo Deportivo. But it says Arsenal reignited the interest. So I'm sitting there thinking, is it a deal I'd like to see happen? Not really, to be honest with you guys. Not really. Look, Ivan Fresneda, I've obviously talked about him previously on the channel. Those who have been here before will know that I've produced a couple of videos on Ivan Fresneda in the past. And I've said in both those videos that I have no doubt that he can be a really good footballer one day. And he's definitely looking like a brilliant young talent. I'm not going to go as far as saying a wonder kid, but really good, especially for his age, very, very mature. And he does fit Arteta's style of football. I mean, he's a Spanish player. We know Arteta likes those type of players, comfortable in the football. And he could be a replacement for Kieran Tierney, but being like the right-back version, and Tomiyasu flips to left-back. And if that is the case, I can see it making sense. Because if you look at Kieran Tierney, right, a lot of people are massive fans of Kieran Tierney. Myself as well. I do think Kieran Tierney is a really good left-back, especially as a defensive player. He's second to none in terms of defending, and he can cross the ball. But Arteta doesn't like Kieran Tierney. And I understand why. Because for all Kieran Tierney's benefits, the man is not someone that's going to control the football and be really good in terms of ball retention team, a possession style team. That's not Kieran Tierney's game. That's no disrespect to him. That's just not what suits him best. So I think it would be better for both parties if Kieran Tierney does move on. With that being said, Kieran Tierney does have sell-on value. Out of all the players we're potentially going to sell this summer, him alongside Balogun probably have the most sell-on value. Like, you could get 35, maybe 40 million for Kieran Tierney if you're a good negotiator. It's up to Edu how well he does there. So if Kieran Tierney does go for 35, 40 million, Tomiyasu gets switched to left-back as a backup left-back to Alexander Zinchenko. Then Ben White becomes a backup centre-back. You have Jurrien Timber as a right-back slash backup centre-back as well. And if you bring in Ivan Fresneda for 12.5 million, you've basically out of the old in Kieran Tierney, in with the new Ivan Fresneda, and you've saved about 25 million. So from that standpoint, I like it. I like it in that standpoint because Kieran Tierney weren't going to play many games for Arsenal anyway. He didn't play many games last season. He is still injury prone. I know a lot of people say no, he's not necessarily. He was fit a lot of last season, but the player does get injury prone. He's not reliable in multiple games. He's an older player than Ivan Fresneda. He's not as good in the football as Ivan Fresneda already. Ivan Fresneda's good controlling the football in a possession-style team, which Arteta would like, and potentially slot into midfield if needs be. He's a better defender than Ivan Fresneda. I won't take that away one bit. But we've got enough defenders now. I believe our defence is actually one of our stronger points of our team. I mean, you're talking about Gabriel, Saliba, Ben White, Jurrien Timber now, Zinchenko. Like, you're talking about Kivior as well, forgetting about him. You're talking about 6 really good defenders there. Now, when I say defender, I know Zinchenko isn't a really top-tier defender. I'll be honest, he's a below-average defender. But in terms of that position, left-back, he's going to start for Arsenal because of what he can do in the team, controlling the ball and coming into midfield. So positions are hard to get by. And Kieran Tierney's a player that would want to start games nowadays. He doesn't want to sit on the bench. Do you get what I mean? So it would make sense to offload Kieran Tierney in that sense and bring in Ivan Fresneda, who would be less eager to start games because of his young age and more eager to adapt and develop on the training ground with better players around him under Mikel Arteta, and in a couple of years' time, really take that position to the front and really try and start in that role. So if I look at that sense, it makes sense if we sell Kieran Tierney and bring in Ivan Fresneda as a replacement. But if it's just a case of keeping Tierney and bringing Fresneda as another player, it doesn't make a lot of sense to me. For Arsenal's fourth signing, I'm looking at central defensive midfielder. Caicedo, Tchouaméni potentially. We know Real Madrid's links with Mbappe. That could lead us to potentially get Tchouaméni if possible. Romeo Lavia as well. I mean, apparently Liverpool moved ahead in the race for Romeo Lavia, preparing to submit a second bid for that player. Or do we look at a striker, in my opinion? Do we look at a top bagsman up front to get us goals? That's what I'm thinking, guys, because in right-back-wise, it's not a game changer for us. Like, if we bring Ivan Fresneda, that for me doesn't make us title winners. Like, you got to look at it in a way and says, if you're opening a business, right, you open a business to get money in the door. That you're not going to buy something if it's not going to give you more money as a business or generate more income. It makes no sense. So when I look at Arsenal's purchases, we should be buying players that are going to directly lead us to winning the league or winning the Champions League. Declan Rice makes sense. It's a lot of money, 100 million, but he's going to help us win the Premier League or Champions League. Same with Jurrien Timber. Does Ivan Fresneda really do that? Does Ivan Fresneda really contribute to a team that's going to win the Premier League, win the Champions League right now? Not really. And you might say squad depth, yeah, but Kieran Tierney is a better squad depth player than Ivan Fresneda. So there's arguments for and against it. Me personally, if Kieran Tierney is to go, fine, sell him, bring in a cheap replacement like Ivan Fresneda, offset the 25 million, but really, really zone in on a central defensive midfielder for me, man. If I also get a top tier defensive midfielder, like I'm talking top tier in terms of Caicedo, Tchouaméni, that level of defensive midfielder, it's a 9 out of 10 window for me, easy. But until then, with the signings we're going right now, I'm giving it a 7.5. Like, because we haven't even made any real outgoings. Like, only Granit Xhaka's gone, who arguably is one of the players I wanted to keep anyway. So I look at it that way, and there's still a lot of work for Edu and Arteta and Vinay and Kroenke to do. A lot of work. The transfer window's only just started, in my opinion. Many will say, oh, that's a bit unfair. Arsenal's already spent 200 million. I know, but there's still a lot of work to be done, especially in terms of outgoings. And I want to see more players in the door because squad depth was our biggest weakness last season against Man City. For the majority of the season, we were fine. We were cooking. But as soon as Saliba got injured, we struggled. As soon as Saka got off the pace and needed to be replaced a little bit for a few games, we struggled. Do you get what I mean? So you're going to need the squad depth to compete with the top teams. So I want to see some more good quality players come in. Even if that means one top tier defensive midfielder and Ivan Fresneda is like a backup right back, I'll take it. But I do want more top tier players through the door, especially in defensive midfield or the striking position. I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comment section regarding Ivan Fresneda, but not just him. What other transfer targets do you want to see Arsenal sign? And if Arsenal do end the transfer window only signing Jurrien Timber, Kai Havertz and Declan Rice, what would you rate it out of 10? I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comment section. Drop a like down below so this video gets out to more people and on the algorithm. And if you're new around here, make sure you subscribe on my road to 4,000 subscribers. It's a win for both of us. And hit the bell notification button so you never miss a future video on this channel. I've been Ivan. I appreciate you guys all for tuning in. And I hope to see you all in my next one. Take care.